Today I will be giving you my rating and review of Massanutten Ski Resort in Virginia. I've been to 40 different ski resorts and I have ridden in 13 different states along with 2 different countries, United States and Canada. I've been a snowboard instructor. I've also competed in snowboarding competitions. I've ridden the most beautiful powder out west. I've also been riding in Canada when it was negative 15 degrees. It was so cold they actually ended up shutting down the chairlifts one of the days we were out there. I've also shredded in East Coast, essentially ice at the nighttime. So it was kind of like just ice skating down the mountain. I've done that too many times to count. But anyways, with all that said, today I will be giving you my full review of Massanutten Ski Resort in my beautiful home state of Virginia. So with that out of the way, a quick little personal history lesson on Massanutten. I know in the last review I gave kind of the history lesson of Timberline. There's no crazy scandals that I know of going on with Massanutten, thankfully. But anyways, if you want to hear about Timberline, the resort I reviewed last time, they had some like crazy money laundering, tax evasion stuff going on. Nothing crazy like that here, thankfully. But this was a place as a kid. This was a spot that I ended up doing a babysitting gig at, which was kind of the coolest babysitting gig ever. I just went and rode with some like little kids, and that was really it. However, you'd think it was great and all. I did think I was going to die doing that babysitting gig because the dad, he was like a big time like real estate developer, super nice dude. However, the man was a workaholic. So we were driving there, and this was like before like iPhones and stuff. This was like flip phone days. So the man is driving with his knees, not looking at the road, literally texting in one hand, eating like his breakfast bagel sandwich in the other hand, looking at us, talking about whatever. And I was like, holy crap, I'm going to die before I get to go and ride with these like little kids for this like babysitting gig. So anyways, other than that, it was a great time, but that was kind of terrifying. And then also pretty cool because as a kid, I also went to I never rode as a kid very much other than I think that babysitting gig, and maybe I think that was it, like in high school or younger. However, I did go to the water park there a bunch of times as a little kid. So they have an indoor water park that I'll talk about later, but that was pretty dope going there as a kid. Also, one of my buddies in college that went to JMU. He ended up being, I guess, the snowboard club president of the JMU like snowboarding club team. I don't really know what it was, but anyway, so in college I went and like crashed with him for a night, and that was pretty cool to go and party with some snowboarding club people, and then we went and rode at the slopes the next day, so that was pretty dope. And then also last year, this was where me and some of my buddies that do like an annual ski trip, this was the slope that we picked. First time ever we did the ski trip at Massanutten, and so yeah, solid housing options. That's kind of the main reason we did it, is because finding housing is so annoying. So excited for this year. The tentative plan is to go to Timberline for that ski trip. But anyways, let's go over some stats of Massanutten Ski Resort. The elevation of this resort is 2,922 feet. They have 7 lifts, which once again, I don't know how these resorts count the lifts, like as far as like how they come up with how many lifts there are, but 7 seems a bit rich, but maybe I'm missing something. 23 runs, I think that's a fair number there. And the last one, I was talking about Timberline and how they like say they have however many runs, and it's like half that number. I think 23 is pretty fair for Massanutten. I think they're kind of counting those fair. And then there are 82 acres to ride. 82 rideable terrain acres. I don't know how you say that, but anyways, that's kind of the stats on the mountain. Now, diving into my rating of Massanutten. All right, once again, I am rating this on the same scale as just every resort I've ever been to. All right, all 40 resorts are on the same grading curve. So it's slightly unfair to be rating these like Mid-East resorts compared to a resort in, say, Canada or Utah or Colorado. So just take my rating with a grain of salt, because this is a rating for a Mid-East resort, and this is a solid resort. All right, so a couple things about the resort. cost. And these are the kind of things that I factor into when I'm coming up with my random rating of these ski resorts I've been to. Cost is the first one, and I'd say cost for Massanutten is pretty solid. You can get a lift ticket for the weekends right around $100. It's like a little more, a little less, just kind of depending on the day and whatnot. But $100 to ride, pretty solid for an 8-hour session. They also offer night riding at a pretty heavy discount. They also offer like a 4-hour riding package. Also pretty sick. I didn't know this, but they're on the Indy Pass. I don't know if they will be next year, but at least this year they were on the Indy Pass, which I've never gotten personally. I've only ever done the Icon and the Epic Pass. But Indy Pass is one where you get like a bunch of different resorts and you get like a few days at all of them. And so I think you get 3 or 5 days on the Indy Pass, maybe depending on the pass level at Massanutten, which is pretty dope. Also, you can get a season pass, and if you buy it early enough in the season, I want to say it's like under $500 for a season pass. And also what's cool, so when I went this last time with my buddy, I actually got to ride for free because he had a season pass, and he gets buddy passes where he can literally get somebody to ride for free, which coming from someone that's had like Drifter Pass, Icon Pass, Epic Pass, their buddy system sucks typically, where it's only like a 15% off or 20% off. And then you also you only get a few of them. And then when you do get them, they have to like buy it online, and then you have to reimburse them, or you can only do it at the window. It's like very complicated. Whereas here we just like went up to the window, like we were buying a pass, and just gave them the pass, and they gave them a pass for free. So I thought that was sick. I don't know how many he gets. I want to say he gets 5 with the season pass. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought that was pretty cool. Also included in the season pass, which I didn't know. If I would have known this, I probably would have gotten one this year. But also included in the season pass is you get to do, they have like a racing series. So same way that you would do like a road running racing series, at least like here in where I'm live, they have like a winter series where you can go and run road races. Cool. Well, they do the same thing, but at Massanutten, where you get to compete. I don't know, other than like slalom type downhill, which on a snowboard, I'm a snowboarder, might not be as much fun, but still kind of sick that you get access to their like racing series, which I was looking it up because I wanted to do one this year, and you only get to compete in those if you are a season pass member. So definitely something I'm going to consider next year when trying to figure out what pass I want to get. But anyways, so all in all, pretty affordable resort. Next, as far as like the runs and just like overall kind of mountain conditions and run variety, I'd say it's pretty decent, especially if you're trying to, like, if you're a beginner to like intermediate. Definitely fun blue runs, definitely a decent terrain park. I would not consider myself some sort of like, really intense terrain park rider by any means, but fun little terrain park. However, they're blacks and double blacks, as most Mideast resorts are concerned. Definitely leave a little bit to be desired. Also, anyone that's ridden out on the East Coast knows that everything out here is crazy icy. So just keep that in mind too. If you're doing night riding out there, it gets very icy, as any of these East Coast resorts do. However, I would say like mountain vibes and runs, sick. They have like their own run for more advanced riders, which is fun. So you don't have to like get stuck at the bottom of the mountain like you do at Timberline every time you want to run or do like black and blues. Whereas at Massanutten, they have their own dedicated lift just for black and blues runs, which definitely helps keep the lift going, keeps it going quicker, which I really wish they would do that at Timberline. That is like the biggest miss they have right now. Ever since the new ownership took over, that is my biggest gripe, is that they don't have like a dedicated blue and black run. And they don't have night riding going to the top of the mountain. But that's okay. That ownership group is new. We're talking about Massanutten here. So anyways, so I would say that's cool. Also, they have like a little lodge halfway up the mountain that's like blasting like dubstep music the entire time you're there, which is pretty fun. So, and just like other cool like hype songs, which is always fun, kind of ripping down the mountain and starting to hear music once you're getting close to the lift. But all in all, run selection solid for greens, blues, and terrains. Blacks, once again, little to be desired. Then, as far as lodging is concerned, I would say lodging compared to a lot of other resorts that I've been to out here in the Mideast, at least, and honestly even out west, lodging is so outrageous, or just poor selection. Like if you're going on a Whitetail or Liberty, lodging is I'll review those one day. They're trash. It's just horrible. So here, I would say decent lodging options. Last year, that same annual ski trip I was talking about before, we actually did our ski trip here, like I mentioned, and we got an Airbnb, pretty freaking cheap, pretty freaking big. Slept all of us. I think we had, I don't know, 13-ish people there, maybe 11. I don't remember. But it was like, slept us all. It was good. It was, 5-minute drive to the mountain. I do wish they had solid cabins like right off the slopes like Timberline, but once again, still solid. And then food selection there I would say is average, if I'm being completely honest. There is, like, they have a lot of food options, but everything is driving. Like, you're not really getting anything right there at the mountain other than the food that is at the resort, which is like your stereotypical very average food. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but it is cheap because you just drive down the road, and I'll talk about this in a second, but it's like right next to College Town where JMU's at. So like you have everything you get ever want. You go Five Guys, Chick-fil-A, anything, but you do have to drive there. So it's not, there's not like little like cool local joints that you can go to, or not a lot of food selection there on the mountain, but still, I would say it's average. If you're willing to drive, great options. Then other noteworthy stuff about the resort that I just kind of wrote down. If you're in the college age range demographic, it's a cool resort because there's a lot of college kids there because, like I mentioned, JMU is right down the road. So that part's pretty fun, just being able to like meet people your age. I know I went there, like I mentioned before, in college a few times, and it was always fun. You could just meet people very easily on the slopes because like a bunch of JMU kids are always riding there. Also, I talked about before, but that race series, pretty sick that you can, it's funny actually, back in the day, I've done a lot of weird entrepreneurial things. And one of my things, like one of my little like entrepreneurial ventures I did for a minute was for whatever reason, in Northern Virginia, people would pay pretty freaking good money for snowboarding helmets. All right. So I had a little stint where I would just drive around all the Goodwills and like Salvation Armies, any thrift shop, and I would buy up all of the snowboarding helmets, and then I would flip them on Facebook Marketplace, and I would like double my money very easily. I mean, because they would like give away these helmets, and anybody knows what Bin 5 is. That's where like any Amazon returns go to. So anyways, I was just like scooping snowboarding and ski helmets and flipping them on Facebook Marketplace. And one of the people there was this a mom of, I guess, like a 5-year-old girl that was ranked like second in the nation for snowboard cross, maybe some snowboarding thing. And she was telling me that she would go and do races at Massanutten, and that's like how she would qualify for other bigger races. So anyways, back to the whole moral of the story is that there are cool races that you can do at Massanutten if you're a season pass member, from my understanding from looking at the website. The other big benefit to Massanutten, if you're going with like, I don't have kids, but as like a family, if you're going as a family, or like we did last year with our big ski trip, there is an indoor water park right there, like at the resort, or like right across the street from the resort, also owned by Massanutten. And so if you have non-riders, or if you're a family and you want to go ride for a day or two and then you want to go to a water park, they have a pretty legit indoor water park that, once again, I mentioned earlier that I went to as a kid. It was sick. I haven't been there obviously since I was probably 10 years old, but I remember it being a pretty legit resort, like an indoor water park resort. And I think even in the summertime, they may have an outdoor section as well. I can't remember, but very cool resort all in all from like that standpoint. So you could go, you could shred, the kids could be at the water park, or you could do, a day at the slopes, day at the water park. All in all though, pretty solid resort. Also, the staff was super friendly. Like everybody, I was riding, people, like all the chairlift dudes would always like, I don't know if they're trying to get on camera or what they were doing, but they would always be like fist bumping me and like talking, which is cool. I like that. I like having friendly chairlift operators. Is always a good time. So anyways, that would be my full review of Massanutten. Now for my rating. My rating, once again, I feel bad rating these Mid-East resorts compared to like out West resorts, but it's all on a scale, and I would give Massanutten a 6.6. All right, I gave Timberline a 6.9. I would say that this is definitely, from if you're just talking about like skiing and snowboarding, this is definitely a step below Timberline, but it does have a lot of amenities. That's what kind of like boosts it back up. And once again, it's a solid spot for Mideast. So just because I give it a 6.6 doesn't, I don't want to scare you away from it. The scary reviews will come when I do Whitetail and Liberty. It breaks my heart because I used to be a snowboard instructor at Whitetail, and ever since Epic took it over, it's just they like don't blow snow or anything. And I should have mentioned that too with Massanutten. Like, mad props to them. They were blowing snow the entire time. Any resort out here that blows snow, just once again going back to poor Whitetail and Liberty, they don't even like blow snow. They, at least maybe they do now, but back when I would ride there just a few years ago, they didn't even try. So I respect Massanutten for at least putting out the snow. And so 6.6 would be my rating. Once again, for any Mideast resort, if you're above a 6, that's impressive. So anyways, that is my full rating and review of Massanutten. Appreciate you checking out this episode. I'm rocking today some merch that my wife and I made. So we got hats that we made for the podcast channel. So if anyone is interested, right now, once again, down the line, I'll obviously try and start using this to actually be able to fund this podcast, because I make no money off of this podcast or YouTube channel. But right now, anyone that's been following along for this long, I'm just selling these at cost. So if you want one, just slide in my DMs on Instagram, or if you got my number, text me. And so yeah, be happy to sell you any of this sweatshirts, hats. I have some beanies, some t-shirts as well. So if you want them, just slide in my DMs. I'll send them to you for at cost. But anyways, with that said, if you appreciate me giving my full review of this, of Massanutten, and enjoy the channel, all that I ask is that you like this video, comment below what ski resorts I should go hit up next and do a review of. And then if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot. Helps me make videos like this. Just putting out these videos for free. It really means a lot to me if you just subscribe. So with that said, peace out, y'all.